Winnie saw the door handle begin to slowly turn. She placed the book back onto the arm of the chair where she had seen Ruby Little reading and went back to the sofa. Lying down, Winnie pulled the blanket up around her neck. She peered over the top of it and watched Thaddeus enter the room. He closed the door behind him and stood looking at her through the dark. "What time is it?" she whispered, pretending she had only just woken. "It's just before 6, he said back, coming towards her, an old leather-looking case in his hand. 6 in the evening? Winnie asked, pushing herself up onto her elbows. "Have I been asleep all day?" "Yes," he said. "I got some sleep too." "What happened to me? I collapsed, didn't I?" "Yes," he said again, placing the case on the floor and sitting beside her on the sofa. His dark, curly hair hung just above the collar of the blue shirt he was now wearing. He must have taken a bath too, Winnie realized, as he smelt fresh and of soap. Winnie was suddenly surprised at how keen her sense of smell was, and she twitched the end of her nose as if to stop herself from sneezing. Thad turned to face her, and his pale eyes twinkled the same color as the earring he now wore. "Why did I collapse?" Winnie asked him. "Exhaustion, I guess," Thaddeus said. "You haven't slept properly for a few days now, and you've been through a rather traumatic experience. It's only natural that your body would want to shut down and get some rest." "But I was in pain," Winnie said, unaware that she was rubbing her stomach where she had felt most of the pain. "Like I said, exhaustion and stress can do all sorts of strange things to one's body and mind. The important thing is that you feel okay now, don't you?" "Yes," Winnie said, combing her hair behind her ears with her fingers. "And the bite?" Thaddeus asked, unable to stop himself from glancing down at her arm. Winnie held her arm up in the gloom and inspected it. "Wow," she breathed. "What is it? What's wrong?" Thaddeus said, jumping up. "There's nothing wrong, that's the point," she said, twisting her arm so Thaddeus could take a look. Gently, Thaddeus took hold of Winnie's arm, raising it just inches from his eyes. He inspected the skin. "See?" Winnie beamed. "The bite marks have gone. I told you I'd be all right." "But," Thaddeus said, frowning down at the patch of skin where only hours before he had wiped away that sticky white fluid. Reading the concern on his face, Winnie eased her arm away and said, "Stop worrying, Thad. The bite marks have gone and I feel much better." "But," he started again. "What's wrong?" Winnie smirked, getting up from the sofa. "Did you think I'd turn into a vampire or something?" "Well," he started, then stopped. "Well, what?" Winnie asked, looking at him. "Nothing," he said, with a shrug of his broad shoulders. Then, picking up the case, he placed it open on the sofa. With something telling Winnie not to open the curtains, she switched on a small lamp that was on a nearby coffee table. Standing beside Thaddeus, she peered into the open case. Thaddeus reached inside and removed a pair of jeans, a t-shirt, panties, and a bra. "These are for you," he said, handing them to her. "Why have you got a case full of ladies' clothes?" Winnie said, taking them from him. "They were for Francis to wear," he said, looking back down into the case. "We put this stuff together just in case of an emergency. Just in case we had to run at short notice. I left it here with Sarah for safekeeping." Still not comfortable with the idea of wearing a dead woman's clothes, Winnie brought them up to her face and sniffed them. They smelt fresh. As if reading her mind, Thaddeus said over his shoulder, "It's okay. Francis never got a chance to wear them." "I'm sorry," Winnie started. "You have nothing to be sorry about," Thaddeus said, turning to face her and handing her an envelope. "What's this?" "It's Francis's passport," Thaddeus told her. "You look alike, so you'll pass for her at any border control. There is also £1,000 in cash." "Passport? Border patrol? I thought we were going to Scotland," Winnie said, turning the brown envelope over in her hands. "We are, but anything could happen before we get there,"